Hello and welcome to another episode of me trying to learn how to do Adobe Premiere, but this time with an infant. Let's run it.
All right. I'm going to speak normally. I've heard that if you do speak normally, children can go longer distances sleeping in the real world, right? Like, not even when they have to pay taxes, like when someone bites them and they have to choose how to respond, like that kind of real world. Um, so I'm running it. It's been a little minute since I have had a chance to do some camera work or some editing work, and I'm not pointing or anything, but the reason is very close by. So it seems I found a way to be able to productively do camera work. As anybody that's been following along knows, this is where we watch a total novice be a total novice inside of editing software, Premiere Pro, Adobe Premiere Pro. So myself and my co-host of The Specialist, Zach Janicello, recorded these episodes now too long ago, frankly. We worked with some outside editors. It was hard to get the outside editing done. We decided to insource the editing. That takes time, effort, and energy too. And boy, I can tell you, it's been fun to learn, and I do think that there's value in learning. I really believe that through actually editing them myself, I'm learning where I want the cuts, where I want the edits, where I want the clips, where I want the twitchy, fast, fun stuff, and where I just want it to be a candid one camera conversation. That said, I don't know if I'm going to be editing forever because it takes a lot of time, and man, time is what you don't have when you're when you're a kid, or when you have a kid. Also, when you're a kid, you have infinite time. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to hop into desktop two. I took a couple of steps out because I'm trying to get better for y'all, and not completely bore you. Pulled in the I've already renamed and gotten Adobe up and running. Um, okay, cool. I'm importing those. So those are all my audio pieces, or those are all my video pieces. And as you guys know, we need to go into our media browser. We're going to, okay, we have Weiss. Where is the ability to import? Yep. So I want to import more media. And here I'm going to go to the audio, import audio. And I'm going cam one, cam mic, cam one H mic, cam two cam mic, cam two H mic, and import those as well. Okay, so I think everybody's kind of, well, I'm not going to pretend everybody's familiar with what's going on here. Basically, what we've done is we have a two camera, four mic setup for the podcast that we've been recording. That means, and I'd say regrettably, what happened even in this run, these are our fourth through or our fifth through eighth episodes. We have two of those microphones running audio directly to the video, which means that you have a little bit more issue when you try to uh, combine that together, but that's okay. And then we have two of those microphones that are independent, so they're not tracking with um, they're not tracking with the video, and they are just recorded directly to device so that we can then blend the audio or mix the audio later and hopefully, big fingers crossed, get an overall better sound from the work. So now that we have all of the source data or source files in the tool, we are going to do we're going to start working some magic, or try to work some magic. So first things first is, okay, so this thing's 2 hours long. So let's go. I'm going to control A, pull everything over. Sequence one, sequence two. Okay. So I think what I can do is, so this is sequence two. I actually don't want this to be sequence two. I'm going to delete sequence two. I'm going to go to sequence one. I'm going to make this whole thing smaller. I can't make it smaller. Um, I'm going to now take my 4 different audio files and I'm going to drop those in as well, right? They should, in theory, have a similar length, right? Because we started recording the audio at the same time as the video. Let me stop sharing just for a second because I remembered I did something naughty and I got to make that better. So when I go to share, I have to make sure to click share sound and, small, let me do stereo high fidelity. I actually go, yeah, mono. When I do share sound, why doesn't it just save that? Why doesn't it just save that as an option? Feedback for you. Zoom. I know you're dying to hear what, little plebeians like me have to say, but there's some feedback. So coming back, obviously we want the sound to be able to play. So what are our goals, right? Our goals are, well, there's maybe 3 specific goals right now. One is to take in the cuteness of these damn kids. I mean, come on, like they did us a huge favor. I honestly, they did not. We didn't plan on having their children there, but it was fantastic that they did bring them. I mean, how cool was that? That the little gals got to join mom and dad to hear them talk about their work and passion and career. So really, really cool that they were able to join. So again, coming back to what our actual goals are. Our actual goals are, one, we want to get cam one, that's camera one, and camera two. And let me see if you can actually see what camera one versus camera two looks like. So this is camera one. And then if we scroll over, you can see what camera two looks like. If we scroll over, you can see what camera one looks like. You can see what camera two looks like. And then the last little bits are camera one, camera two. You can see we lost the gals. We lost the little girls in this episode. I think we lost them maybe part way through. Yeah, we lost them right here, right? Little sweeties. They ditched us. But all good. So first goal is we're going to pull camera one and camera two. We're going to get them stacked on top of each other so that we can do our cut edits, right? So when the 2 video feeds are stacked on top of each other, we can do our little trick. I'll demonstrate that trick, right? So clip, and then if I go back to select tool, I can hit here, delete. And here, imagining camera one was sitting underneath those 2 things, right? And actually I can show that because I'm sort of fancy now. Go up, slide this under. Okay, fantastic. This would be your shot effect. And let me actually zoom in a little bit, right? So if you pay attention to your zoom window or the window up above here, right, we can see what that looks like in reality.
Materials are the same.
Don't pay attention to the audio or
Obviously,
anything,
the
but you
steel
can
has
see we're
upgraded
rolling on
tremendously.
camera
It's
one in this
It is
case,
totally different.
and then we
We
will
use
flip to camera
Mars,
two.
which is
Boom,
it has a
right?
lot of
So
downside.
that's kind of the effect we're looking for. And now I'm just undoing everything that I just did with Command Z on the Mac, Control Z on a desktop or another computer. Because who's doing Adobe on anything other than Mac, obviously. Um, that's our first goal, is to stack our cameras. Our second goal is to sync our audio. We need to, so because we have these 4 different audio sources, 2 from the camera, 2 from the microphone, we need to get some balance within the audio so that everyone sounds as rich and hearty and harmonious as they possibly can. And then our third goal is that we actually want to do some cutting and editing. So we're doing a lot of kind of, find the right mountain, find the right location before we begin making Mount Rushmore. So steps 1 and 2 are ensuring that the mountain we've selected is the one to chisel some faces in, and then we might break out a little crop in, a little zoom out. So let's go through the painstaking process of making it happen. And again, part of the reason I'm doing this, oh, and then I got one more, Command Z, because I did some cutting and splicing there. Part of the reason I'm doing this is I want to get feedback from the community on how can I do this more efficiently. I am certain that I'm not doing this the best way that exists. That said, man, we all get into a mindset of slowing ourselves down sometimes, and I'm just really trying to move away from that. So the first thing I do to kind of make this trick happen is I pull everything over and give myself the length of the full episode on the timeline so that I can then do this. So I take camera one over. I then have Weiss 1, cam 1, Weiss 2, cam 1, right? So, yeah, that's right. And then I want Weiss 3, cam 1. That's right there. You can see that up here in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. And then I have the full episode, right? We have Weiss 1 cam 1, we have Weiss 2 cam 1, and we have Weiss 3 cam 1. So then the same thing over here. We have Weiss 1 cam 1, we have Weiss 2 cam 2, or Weiss 1 cam 2, and then we have Weiss 3 cam 3, right? Amen. So we now take this. I'm going to slide this over to the beginning of the timeline. We take this, I'm going to slide this over just inside of this audio mix. And now I think I've even labeled these already. This is Cam 1 H mic, Cam 1 H mic, Cam 2 H mic. So this means first part of the interview, second part of the interview. This is Cam 1 cam mic, first part of the interview, second part of the interview. So I'm going to take these two, I'm going to okay, that's cool, right? So what I did was I took these, I'm now putting my layers on. You can see that these are very similar in length. That's good because that means that stuff is working. Now I could do a little test, and so I could take just these audio tracks, right click, you go to oh wow. Okay, so it's not even available. Well, we'll see if I can actually synchronize the microphones here. I really hope I can. That's how I've been doing the audio edit on all these others. Is you go there and you click synchronize. So here I could click this one, click that one, right click, synchronize. Okay, click this one, click that one, right click, synchronize. Okay, so I think the way it works. Now let me take these two, left and right. That then checks out logically to me. So you can't synchronize audio that is left to right. I'm learning as I go, folks, but that's part of the game, and that's part of what I'm hopefully encouraging others to do is you can't synchronize left and right because the audio tracks don't have the same information, right? I'm not saying shout it all out and my guest saying shout it all out at the same time. We're saying different things at different times. So you can synchronize top and bottom stacked audio, right? Like that. So I would synchronize these two. I can synchronize those two. And what I really want to do is I want to synchronize this audio, this audio with this and this, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to add this to the upper level. Ooh, I need to get that, get that, get that. I'm going to put that up above cam 1, remember, right? So I put camera 1 up above. I'm going to take this, take all these, I want to bring those down a notch, right? Okay, I brought those down a level so that I can take this, this, and this, and I can bring them down a level, okay? And now I'm taking this whole section and I'm going to pull this whole section again to the front of the episode, right? So the audio tracks are not synced here. Keep that in mind. The audio tracks are not synced, but we have all of these guys. Now, what's going to be really tricky, I'm just thinking aloud as I go here. What's going to be really tricky is, as you can see, and here we'll go ahead and pull those all the way over, right? You can see that our audio actually runs longer than the episodes, that's not a huge deal. It's really not a huge deal. But what I do see is not only does our audio run longer, take this, I'm going to pull these over, right? Our audio runs longer. What I also see is that here and here, right? we have 3 audio files. So there's nothing for this to synchronize with. Now let me be fancy, and I'm going to see if I can get close to cutting this file. I'm learning literally on the fly here. What I want to do is I want to listen to one of these audio tracks, and I want to see if I can kind of identify where in this end piece of audio is this section of audio. And I can definitely do that. I could come here, I can splice it there, right? So again, using our razor tool, I can use the razor tool. And then as you see, right, I then, using that same concept, right, I could take this bit and this bit. Wait, I got to use shift click, right? So I could use this bit, and this bit. Oh, sorry, one last time. Sorry. This bit, this bit, this bit, and this. Oh my gosh. Guys, it's all bad. Let's just imagine we're doing these 2 bits, right? Right click, synchronize, and there you have it. So let me undo that, right? Okay, so now we are listening for what is in those sections of audio, and we're gonna figure it out, right? So the first thing I want to do is I want to move this out so I can actually hear what's in the audio, right? Okay, and here we go. Okay, I want to hear what's in the audio. Let me, I'm going to pull this even further out, right? Right. So I'll get it back on the right level here in a moment, but I want to go there. Right. There we go. So now I can really hear what's just in that audio clip. So let's go zoom in and let's hit play.
I want to start making a part that I am not sure that I can make. And I want to be able to make bad financial decisions because I want this cool.
Okay, so the good news is this microphone is not Cameron's microphone. Okay, we've identified one thing already. Cameron's talking, and I'm going to take a wild guess and say not only is this not Cameron's microphone, this is also not Whitney's microphone, because Whitney's microphone would be picking up his voice much louder too. I have it on max audio. Oh, now here I'm going to get fancy. I'm going to take this bit and I'm going to raise the audio up to 15. Right? So I'm going to max out the audio as loud as it can go so I can hopefully pick up something.
I want to start making a part that I am not sure that I can make.
I want to start making a part that I'm not sure I can make. Okay, no problem. Let's see what he's saying here.
I want to start making a part that I am not sure that I can make.
I want to start making a part that I'm not sure I can make. Wow. Okay. We're going to find that audio. It's not hard to do now. I think we've discovered the magic, right? So let's go fetch right? We'll go fetch this bit, right? Again, you see how much control we have to layer and unlayer and move around and splice and dice. I have to say, like, my impression of the tool has been so positive in that I don't feel scared to click, cut. And that's really cool because I see how this could be really, really intimidating. Now, the only other piece is these audio tracks have not been synchronized yet, right? So bear that in mind. So I really need to go here and take this, and I need to pull this out, right? We know that that little clip is at the end of the interview. We know that that clip, actually, let's go be really smart, right? We know that that clip is at we'll call it the 55, right? The 55-minute mark. We'll also see when do we start. We start at start, right? So let's go here. And let's listen for the first audio that we hear. Coming soon. Actually, this is irrelevant. I don't need to do this. I just need to find where he says, I'm looking for a part.
Sure that we make the best product so that our store.
Right? And now if I do this right, let's take this whole thing. Oh, wow. I'm adjusting the audio there. Let me undo that. Let's take this back to the 1 hour mark. That's exactly how long we interviewed them, right? And now we know that we're looking for the 55th minute, right, of this track. So we go back here, we go to 55, right around there, and we hit play.
I'm just so curious, like, we literally just interviewed someone who's from California, moved here in 2014. My wife's from California. We live in Nashville. A lot of people from California live in Nashville. Like, there's clearly a link, that there's clearly something here that makes Californians feel welcome, but there's also something that's keeping Californians here and not back in California. So like, and this doesn't need to be, super deep, or it can be. I just love to know, like, what's in the water.
Really hard. You can see the advantage of having the of the video, right? You can see like facial positions, you can see body positions, right? You can really cue off of people's physical locations, which is tough. Let's listen to a little bit of the lead up to that.
Like Los Angeles is really expensive. And that's going to put a little squeeze on your art. Sure. You can't be as creative when you're in these places that are very expensive.
So we're kind of looking for there.
I think, California is a huge place. So clearly,
economy in the world.
Right? Like clearly you're going to end up with Californians everywhere in the US. You're going to end up with Californians all over the world. But I think that a certain type of Californian is finding their way to Nashville, and it's like basically you meet people and you're the same people, right? You could become really good friends with, like, I'll go to a car meetup and I find some great friends really well, right?
I think one of the things that drove us here,
Okay.
but that
Tough stuff here. We're going to bring this back to neutral. Let me actually hit this click. I know you can change clip audio, right? You can change audio right there. Yeah. So you can bring audio volume back to 0, right? So that's your properties, and you can do essential audio. I'm not even sure what the hell that is, but I know that you can kind of play around with it. I'm going to not fidget too much here because maybe it won't matter. I think that's also a really important note, is like, maybe it won't matter. Maybe it will, right? Maybe it will matter, but maybe it won't matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here. I'm going to make sure that I didn't screw anything up with my camera cut. So let me make sure I have cam 1, Weiss 2, cam 1. This should be Weiss 3, cam 1. We're going to pull that over to the end, pull this over to the end. Okay, fantastic. I'm then going to take these audio tracks, pull it over, right? We definitely just talked. Maybe we were recording well in advance, like that's also possible. So let me pull these over. Let me pull this over. Let me take this, and let me go here. And then let me see, like, what were we recording in the beginning of the episode?
So you can just clip this anywhere on the shirt.
You got any cords, Zach? Okay.
We're getting microphones on.
You want to place that on your little jacket there? At the perfect moment. I'm also going to bring this up.
I think Zach might have been
a tremendous amount of what's happening in your life. I think it's honestly, like, I think of you guys in a weird way, almost like modern homes.
No big deal.
So we'll start on watchmaking. We'll start on watches, right? So Weiss Watch Company, founded in 2013. You guys, I mean, about just for funsies.
Watchmaking?
We might talk about watchmaking, which feels like a really safe bet.
Really special.
Super.
Let's hear, where do I actually, like, where does the video start? You know, like, where does the fucking video start? So let's go here, here, here. Let's pull this over. All right, let's pull this over. Where does the actual video start?
Of doing any. Feel very fortunate.
What a crew.
What a crew.
This is awesome. The Weiss sandwich.
Oh my God, this is so good.
Good.
So endearing.
All right. Ladies, I've never done any.
All right. So we're going to freaking run it, dude. We're just going to run it. We're going to see what happens here. Because what's the worst that can happen is it sucks. You know, that's the worst that can happen. Here's what we also can do is if we pull this back to there, I bet. Let's hear what we got here.
And I feel, ladies, I've never done any. I also feel good about the fact that, and I feel very good about that. I
doing
also
any.
feel good about the fact.
What if we do that? Okay, let's go there because now it looks like we're in the zone. Let's go there. Right? And then we'll go here, 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 and here. These look really close. Right click, synchronize. Here we go. We're synchronizing. We got one channel option. Boom. It's going to work some magic, and it is going to, you'll see that it will actually move these clips around. So it will physically move them to the place where they should line up, meaning green may move to the right, blue may move to the left, et cetera, et cetera. But you'll see a physical movement software. I got really close there. Okay, that is exciting. That is exciting. So what that tells me is, and we can quickly discern if that was actually right or not, right? We can quickly tell if that was right or not. First things first, we're going to bring the audio level to 0. Make sure, okay, bringing this audio level to 0, right? We're going to mix these later ourselves, like to get our audio quality. One person will be speaking louder than the other. I'm pointing at myself without my hands because I have my daughter on me. You get it. So let's actually listen to the mix that it came out.
Have you ever done a podcast?
Nope.
Wow.
I somehow managed to wiggle my way out of doing all of them.
Yeah, we're good.
You good?
Of doing any. Feel very fortunate.
Okay. Already audio levels are too low. So let's boost this to the max and let's see who's talking.
Thank you, Austin. What a crew.
What a crew.
This is awesome.
That's
The
Whitney.
Weiss
Okay, you hear that laugh? The laugh, that's Whitney. Then Whitney's mic is on Weiss 1, Cam 1. Okay, fantastic. So we're going to bring her up to 10. We're at 8, and we'll actually do a quick little study there, right? We'll come back here, and we'll make sure what we're looking for is to, we want to stay in like that -6 or lower. We don't want to get up into the red. And again, just as a reminder, we're listening at 70% volume, 60% volume on the computer. So in fact, I'll even go down a notch so that 60% volume truly is where we're listening.
You good?
Of doing any. Feel very fortunate.
Thank you, Austin.
Okay, so still a little hot on the mic. So let's go, let's go 5 on the mic. Although I can't really hear her that well. It's just saying it's high.
Of doing any. Feel very fortunate.
Thank you, Austin. What a crew.
What a crew.
This is awesome. The Weiss sandwich. All right.
We're okay there.
All right. Ladies, I've never done any type of interview.
Okay, let's do a zoom in. I've never done, right? So let's zoom in there and let's see whose mic is on. I've never done, right? Let's try to get my mic. I don't think I'm on. I think H mic. So this is Zach Giannicello. This is Cameron. If Whitney is mic 1, right, then I must be Cam 2. So let's bring me up and let's hear how loud I am.
I've never done any type of interview with anyone under 15.
Okay. So I can't really hear myself, which is disturbing, right? And that's okay. I'm not the point of the show, so if my audio sucks, that will not be the end of the world by any stretch of the imagination. My little girl. She's so cute.
And I feel very good about that. I also feel good about the fact that it's changing. Welcome to the specialist. Give me 5. You got that in you? No, okay, there you go. Boom.
Okay. It's all happening. That's so fun. Okay. So we'll do the mixing later. I'm not so worried about how we nail the levels. What I am worried about is this little section of audio that we find a way to mix this properly. Now we can do this. Keep in mind, we'll ultimately get there, right? So let's go here, 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 and here. We can't synchronize this. I'm almost guaranteeing it because we have too many lefts and rights, but we can do this one, this one, this one, and this one. And let's do this. Let's take this whole little section and let's move it out so that we can actually see, the physical movement of these pieces. Right? So let's go big section, big section, big section, big section, right? Let's right click and let's synchronize these bad boys. Again, if we're doing it right, we'll see some jumping of the clips. I can't even touch anything now that this thing's operating, which is probably for the best for everyone's experience, I would imagine. Okay. Okay. Now let's go back here and let's sandwich them together. We are sandwiched. Right? We're sandwiched. There's a little gap in the mic there. That happens. Let's listen for the audio, right? Now we just test it. So we pull our little guy here. Let's go, somewhere in the middle where it was like doing its thing for sure.
And do you guys do, so I know you mentioned events, cars and coffee is one. I think that's...
We call it watches and wheels.
Watches and wheels. Is there may be a competing thing, I don't know, watches and wheels. That was where
it's our version of cars and coffee, and we thought it went with our brand a little better.
Okay. Okay. Guys, I mean, I'm freaked out, but I think this is going to work. So let's go here, right? Let's go to the end of the episode. I know we don't want to do it. I'm scared too. We're all scared. Everybody's scared. Let's listen to what the audio sounds like.
Exactly what is going to be profitable in order to survive there.
Or you got to be financed or backed by an uncle or a venture capitalist.
Yeah.
Yes, and we are totally self-funded.
Yeah.
And what we want to do is experiment, right? I want to make bad financial decisions because I want this cool new tool, right? Or I want a workshop that I can build this in or do this. I don't want that extra pressure of if it's not successful, the business fails.
Here, this might be our best saving grace. So we do have the issue, right? We do have the issue. We could have, not mix these audios, but hey, we might do a triple mix here, and that's okay. I'm not upset, right? We might have a scenario where let's go here, let's pull these over, let's again go to here, and let's listen.
It's quite massive, and we were able to find that and kind of we like to hike and be outdoors a lot and that kind of stuff as well. So it was
so good in Nashville and you meet such great people is that you're going to be profitable.
The audience won't. That's the beauty. Y'all are awesome. We're going to point
Thank you,
people,
guys.
obviously, to all of your locations.
Is finding their way to Nashville and have a brand that has an amazing story like the ones we've worked with.
So this is for sure Cam. And gosh, his voice, his voice is just so soft, man. That's regrettable. We can't max him out anymore, like this is as loud as it goes for him. And that sucks.
For collaborations, and then they tell our story to all of the people that love their story. So, I mean, imagine your best friend, right, telling you about something. It's a great.
Right? That's, it's not that bad, but his voice is definitely soft. Now let's hear what Zach had to say here, because it looks like Zach H is on the mic.
What industries have an attention to craft that are like tangential or even totally
That
separate?
was the question.
Yeah. Okay. Like coffee had a moment,
yes.
Yeah.
right? I think we're maybe on the back.
Okay. Right. We'll put Zach at 8. We got Cam maxed out at 15 dB. Okay. If I take these and I put them back here, right, back into our mix, right? If I go there and I hit play again.
I'm not trying to get into
Or other things that would
writing
cloud that.
Okay, I got to be careful here because these little tweaks I'm making, that's the original mix right there.
Locations
Right.
of watches, yeah.
or other things that would.
You hear that small difference? Like it is a difference. So, my original suspicion is being verified that to do this properly, you really need to find where this disconnect is, and then you need to synchronize the audio between this and this. It can't be far. That's the thing, is it can't be far. We're really close, right? So let's go here and it should be good.
So I look at it like artist communities are not going to really pop up as much in a place like Los Angeles or Manhattan because the expense, right? It's got to be proven.
Yeah.
You can't go in there experimenting.
Right.
Okay. I mean, the audio mix, the mix is really nice. The mix is nice. It's okay. Okay. All right, team. We might have to take a small intermission. Okay. Small intermission. We are back. We're back and we still have the same problem. Okay. So nothing changed. Don't worry. I didn't solve the problem live. I didn't solve the problem off camera. Yeah, what to do. I mean, I think the what to do is the painstaking work of actually going in and finding that moment in time when he spoke. So instead of boring you, because I will go and do that, what I'd like to do instead is let's make this bigger, right? So we can skip more section of the timeline faster. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim up our episode.
In the last full interview,
I think this is just a bunch of.
I got it under control. No
So I
swearing.
think I
No
think we're
swearing.
going to be totally fine. Zach, can you toss me those glasses, please, sir? Awesome. Confirming recording on both.
Got a little Zach sandwich here.
Well, technically, it's
It's a wet.
Okay, let's go here.
Weiss's sandwich, right? With some
Weiss-
Zach
it's a
bread.
Weiss sando.
Have you ever done a podcast?
Nope.
Wow. Oh.
40 straight to the Weiss.
Okay.
Managed to wiggle my way out of doing all of them.
Yeah, we're good.
About to pick up camera.
Of doing any.
There we go.
So very.
And you could hear, right? You could hear that that's Whitney's camera, which is cool.
What a crew.
What a crew.
This is awesome.
I love it. I love
The
it.
Weiss sandwich.
Okay, so we're gonna go here, and we just hit play.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
We good?
Of doing any.
We're good?
So very.
Austin's
Very
out.
fortunate.
What a crew.
What a crew.
This is awesome.
I love it. I love
The
it.
Weiss sandwich. All right, we good? All right, ladies. I've never done any. This is awesome.
I love it. I love
The
it.
Weiss.
Okay, we're gonna go. This is awesome.
What a crew.
Right here, right? So we razor tool, right? So we razor tool, boom to the clip, boom to the clip, boom to the clip, boom to the clip, and then we go here, delete, 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 and now we have everything pull forward, right? Everything pull forward. Okay, sweet. Now we want to do some audio mixing. We want to get the audio levels at the right level, right? So we can actually hear what the hell is going on with these guys.
This is awesome.
I love it. I love
The
it.
Weiss sandwich. All right, we good? All right, ladies. I've never done any type of interview with.
I think I think one thing to really rest assured on is like you have to have one thing I've now learned and fully understand is that within the DJI ecosystem, which is what we're using to record everything, both at the camera level and at the microphone level, you really do need to have you need the app that they have, and you need an AV guy like we had Austin Wilson there that day. You need someone there to not only to evaluate that the levels are coming through on the microphones, but to also then say, hey, we need to increase or decrease the microphone's gain or receptivity to sound, so that you can do a little bit of balancing of your sound mix on the front end. Because what I clearly hear is some people just their gain on their mic was higher. Some people's their gain on the mic was lower. And you're just rolling the dice on if that actually will work or not. So, that's a bit of feedback for myself, but really important to know that. Because right now, I mean, I'm playing back at 70% audio, and our audio is just really, really, really low across the board. So
Anyone under 15. And I feel very good about that. I also feel good about the fact that it's changing.
So we'll go
Welcome
15 for
to
Whitney,
the
11 for
specialist.
me.
You got that in you? Okay.
Cameron's at 15 already, and Zach's at 15.
Cameron,
We are as
Whitney.
hot as we can go.
Thank y'all for being here. Really glad to have you.
Yeah, good to
You
be
probably
here.
have no
This is it.
clue
This is as hot as
what
we
we're
can
about to
go.
talk about. You look like you're eager to know.
Yes.
Okay. What if you had to guess? What do you think we're going to talk about?
One,
just for funsies.
3.
Watchmaking.
We might talk about watchmaking, which does feels like a really safe bet.
Really special.
Super specialized watchmaking. Yeah. And we're also going to talk a little bit about what I'm going to call the modern family. I think that in addition to watches, having been adjacent neighbors, not direct neighbors, and having seen a lot of your life through Instagram, because you post a tremendous amount of what's happening in your life, I think it's honestly differently. You were based in California at that time, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we started the business, we were in Los Angeles, and I was working for Vacheron Constantin, which is
Now, here's where I'm going to smack myself in the face. So I'm going to smack myself in the face by saying You are sharing your screen. Fantastic. I hoped I was. Share sound. Options, share sound. Let me go to stereo. This could be an issue of my audio settings. I don't even know. But instead of sharing sound as mono, I'm going to share sound as stereo high fidelity and then optimize for video sharing. That's a video sharing experience. Let me see what that even means. Optimize for video sharing experience. Zoom Workplace and other app windows may be masked as black boxes. Whatever, dude. Who cares? Great. Share the damn screen. Share. If this makes the audio better.
Very high-end watchmaker on Rodeo Drive. And Whitney was
freelancing. But when we were 18, what were we doing? We went to college.
Yeah, we we have been together
a long time
since way before the business, and we met in Los Angeles, moved to Miami, Florida together. That's where I went to watchmaking school, and she was working. She had graduated from US.
As a side note, makes sense that there's so much. Now I connected a dot, even in that interview, beyond the fact that Pitbull lives there. The connection to Miami being a place where watch connoisseurs, like watch aficionados, obviously there's money there so people can buy the watches, but it sounds like there's a damn watch school in Miami. So that's another, the passion is there in addition to the wealth.
See. So this whole time she's working in marketing, kind of developing her skills and advancing in that realm. And I'm still going to school and
okay, so this is actually cool, right? So I could, this is cool. Okay, so this is so this comparison view, it seems that the comparison view would be if I wanted to basically replicate Weiss 1 Cam 1 and then do color treatment on Weiss 1 Cam 1, I could do that. So if I Control C, Control V, let me zoom out. Let me see what I just did. Okay, didn't screw anything up. Great. This comparison view, right? Vertical split, horizontal split. This is side by side. So this is one thing I could do for sure. I'm not sure exactly how I would do it, but I know, so shot or frame comparison. Yeah, so this is just, okay, this is like if you're actually editing, you have two versions of the same thing. You want to pick which one you like best based on the audio sync. Okay, cool, fantastic. Don't need it. Don't need it. Toggle proxies. Okay, toggle proxies is a thing. So here we have Cam. I like this is Cam 1 because it has Cameron talking, right? Cameron talking is Cam 1. Cameron and Whitney talking is Cam 1. So we're going to look for a moment where we have another talker. Here's Zach talking, right? So let's click in on that one.
I was bored by some of the questions I was asking too, ladies.
Okay.
They've heard the carbon steel story before, so they're not as interested the second time around.
They're like, Dad, I hear this every day.
Okay, so that's a fun little exchange. Let's bring our audio. Now, what's great is look, so like we've boosted out our audio as high as we can go, right? We're at 15, 8.2, 15 and 15, right? Now, remember, we got to make sure we do that across the board, right? We got to make sure that so if we go to properties, we can bring our audio to 15, 8.2, 8.2, 15. It's easier just to drag and max, right? But remember, what we can do is when we have scenarios like what just happened, right? It was a little bit loud just because of the laughter, which is a good problem to have, I guess, right? Let's go back to that. Let's scroll back a touch.
Because we would use carbon steel, which is, it has a lot of downsides, but it's also really easy to work with. If you
Nice
think
rich
of like
sound.
old blacksmithing and things like that, you could build your own forge. You could make your own metal tools, and you can do that with carbon steel, and you can harden it, and you can work it in so many different ways
Okay, let's go here. This is where the laughter was.
to actually coat the screws,
Sure.
almost like a paint, right? Or some sort of like there are other processes we can use to do that on stainless steel, but carbon steel traditionally was treated that way for a reason.
Yeah, for protection purposes.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Whitney, as I'm hearing all this, and
So that feels like a moment. So Whitney, right?
as I'm hearing.
Okay, let's scoot back.
We can use to do that on stainless steel, but carbon steel traditionally was treated that way for a reason.
Yeah, for protection purposes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, and then so Whitney, right? So let's zoom in a touch here. We can see exactly when that question is asked. It's there,
So
right? And
so
right, so and you actually let the words call your cut, right? So here we go to our snipper tool. Snip there, right? And now what I might do, let's go and look at this for a second, right? So we just clipped, which is cool. We're gonna do a couple things here. We're gonna look for another place
Of what we're doing in a way that can reach all people.
too loud, right? So interesting. Okay, so Cam was talking a lot in that first section. You can see this is Cam's microphone, right? Whitney's talking more here. So we are going to do some audio treatment on this section, right? We're going to bring her audio down a touch, right? We're going to bring her audio down a touch. We're going to bring her audio down a touch, okay? And what we're now looking for is another cut opportunity
in our studio to make our products that you just won't find anywhere else.
Yeah. If you go to Switzerland, it'll be there to make what you want to make. We don't have that opportunity here, so I had to.
Mount Whitney, that was too obvious for me to even guess. Dang it. That was a miss. But we will slow pan drone on Mount Whitney.
Do you think there's any difference in like the final
Cool. Do you think there's a difference in? Okay, cool. There you go, Zach. Nice. All right. So Zach chimes in right here.
result?
Right. So Zach's right here, right? This is him.
Do you think there's any
Do you think there's any difference? Right. Right. Let's go. So that actually feels like a good Cam 2 moment, but that's okay. So let's clip here. Bam. Right. And then we're going to select this, and we're going to. Now, what's going to be interesting is when I delete this section, I'm actually also deleting Whitney's audio, which I don't want to do, right? Okay, so that's a challenge. So what I can do is I can, instead of getting rid of her audio, let me right click here. Let me see if I can decouple audio. That's one thing I could do, right? So we're going to replace, adjust, or edit original, remove attributes. Let me go actually to the audio file. Let me right click the audio file and let me see. I can label, okay, whatever. Audio channels. Make subclip, revealing project, revealing finder, showing keyframe. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do instead. So I've clipped this. I'm now going to pull, well, I have to clip the one below at the same intervals, right? Click and click, right? So now I can drag this up and this down and then I keep the audio, and my audio clip will occur the way that I planned, right? So I kept my audio, I keep my audio intact, and now I just have reversed the layers, if you will. So we'll watch this in, why don't we watch this in full screen? Let's see how this little shiffity-doo works. I believe I can change my, oh, I believe I can change my view type to editing. Okay, great. And I really want this to be a full screen option, but damn it, it ain't there. So let me hit play.
There are other processes we can use to do that on stainless steel. But carbon steel traditionally was treated that way for a reason.
Yeah, for protection purposes.
Exactly, yeah.
So Whitney, as I'm hearing all this.
Bam, right? Cool. And now let's go and make sure that we're not crazy with our next cut. Again, it's not about perfect, right? Let's go zoom in a touch here. Play.
Yes. Dang it. That was a miss. But we will slow pan drone on Mount Whitney.
Do you think there's any difference in like the final result? So that you talk about benefits in terms of like you getting to learn, but is there like a difference in like what's
Definitely
in the end result of the product?
Most people from the outside won't notice it.
Sure.
But from the inside, there's a lot of pride and ownership, right? When you figure out how to do something.
Okay. So one thing's for sure is that I think Cam 1, is when Cameron and Whitney are talking to Zach, me, Zach. Cam 2 is when Cameron or Whitney are talking to Zach Janicello, because that gives the best head-on view of either Cameron or Whitney, right? So we have Cam 1, Cam 2, boom, boom. We have Cam 1 on top, Cam 2 on top. Here's what we could do. Let's just do this. Up, Cam 2. Wait a second. Undo. Up and above. And now this is still Cam 1. So the cut is still the whole thing, right? We can bring this guy down. We bring this guy down. So this would then be one continuous cut, right? Let's hit play.
Use. And I feel like when we launched, there were a lot of new blogs that had started, and that was a really nice opportunity for us to get our work, our
Okay, cool.
presence out there. So
Like
we
publications on
Like HODK.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also, like at that time, stuff like Gear Patrol and Cool get eyes on their site, get clicks, get people reading and following and subscribing to email newsletters. So it was really easy having a cool story, to have an article written about us today.
Yeah, not only have they monetized that,
Most
this
of
is,
these blogs.
I'm going to ask you an adjacent question to this comment, but I think it's akin to this notion of,
Pay to play.
are you familiar with Doug DeMuro?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Doug DeMuro. So, I thought you might be. So, in that world, I very much can see Hodinke getting into, well, they've already vertically integrated into reselling watches. I think there's not a far future where they're white labeling other people's watches and they have their own brand. I mean, that's exactly what Doug DeMuro has done with Cars and Bids, right?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, why am I letting Auto Trader, my former employer from 15 years ago, be the transaction site, or Carvana? He was like, I have the audience. Why don't I have an auction site for the car?
So I'm all groovy with this. Nothing too drastic there. Now, just for the sake of funsies, let's keep the momentum. We're on cam, right? We're showing some diversity of camera, right? Cam 1, Cam 2, Cam 2, Cam 1, right? We don't jump around on camera just for fun, right? What I really like is I'd really like a Cam 1 shot with the girls, like a pan shot with the girls, that'd be cool.
Entire Swiss industry, right? We have case making, dial making, assembly, polishing, we have movement design, everything. We make screws, wheels, pinions. If I happened to have been born in Switzerland and went into watchmaking, I would have a small workshop, just a little atelier, and I would draw out parts and I would bring them over across the street to the person who makes a pinion, bring the case drawing over to another workshop where they're making cases, and you have all these opportunities to use the whole village, the whole industry there to make what you want to make. We don't have that opportunity here. So
Okay, so this should be a cut. This should be a cut and zoom on Cameron, right?
That our story is really unique. So it's been fun to get to work on that, but also challenging.
And what's unique about that story?
Yeah, that's what I was.
I mean, really, no one is doing exactly what Cameron's doing in the U.S. And
So, what's unique about that story?
Unique about that story?
Yeah,
our story is really that our story is really unique. So
Okay, cool. So we're gonna do our cuts again. Cut, right? Cut. I want to cut to camera 2 or cut to camera 1, right? Cut to camera 1. I want to cut to camera 1. Remember my little cool thing that I do, right? And now I'm cutting to camera 1 and check what I'm doing here. I'm going back up, bringing this below, bringing this down. Yeah, I'm all jumbled up on my audio. This ain't a architectural. Make sure my baby's good. Okay, my baby's in here sleeping. Make sure we're good. We got to cut to camera 2.
it's been fun to get to work on that, but also challenging.
And what's unique about that story?
yeah, that's what I was.
I mean,
Bam. And what's unique about that story? Okay, so now we're gonna work some magic, right? Now we're going to we're gonna clip here, right? Remember, we're doing our thing. Right? We want to go to, let me make sure that I know where I'm going. Effect controls. Okay, so first things first on effect controls, I want to, right? We're gonna do this this slow pan in, right? To really get to what's unique about your story. I want to get the gals and this nice side angle. I think this tree. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get an anchor point. I actually took the anchor point off, right? Let me delete the anchor point. Gosh darn it. This action will delete. Okay, cool. I want to delete that. Right click. If I double click here, aha, you double click on the frame, you can move your anchor point. Oh, no, undo, right? Remember, you got to look for the little highlighty thing there, right? There. You look for the little, that guy. You can drag your anchor point. We pretty much are dead on, but I want to show a little movement. So I'm going to go down to the right because I want to elevate them. And I'm also going to start my, I believe the motion is the scale, right? So I begin my scale there, and then I'm going to hit play.
really, no one is doing exactly what Cameron's doing in the U.S. And really, when you think about it globally, coming into our studio, it's a very unique experience you might not find anywhere else because in other countries, they have different resources. Like you can call a dial maker, you can call someone who makes cases. And here we don't have the infrastructure. So we're doing a lot of things in our studio to make our products that you just won't find anywhere else.
Yeah, if you go to Switzerland, it'll be some of the top watchmakers over there.
Okay, and now we want to, we're there. I mean, this is a really good moment. We can drop another, right? Boom, right? And then we just double click that, and then we change the number to 250, right? Look at that, right? You see how 250 blows their family up. That's great. Okay. 250 gets them nice and exposed. But our position, right? Our position is in the wrong spot, and that's okay. We're just trying to get tighter on our positioning. Let's hit play.
Yeah, what's unique about that story?
Yeah, that's what I was.
I mean, really, no one is doing exactly what Cameron's doing in the U.S. And really, when you think about it globally,
Hey,
coming into
what happened there? Anchor point. Anchor point. We really want to get rid of the anchor point there, right? Something is interestingly off in this shot. Let's go there. Okay. So it's anchored the whole shot instead of just like in that moment. We're zooming in. Okay, I get what's happening. So we've really just anchored the whole shot. So wait a second. Oh, well, I also learned a new way to get rid of camera one, which I don't want to do. Let's Control Z that. Control Z that. Yeah. Small visitor here. Want to come say hey, Shar? How long? No. She's good, sweetie. Leave her alone.
No, she needs to
Yes.
eat.
Okay, well, if she needs to eat, she needs to eat. Hold on one second, everybody. We love you. Yeah, how do I get my anchor point back? So I'm moving the whole damn scene. Ugh, I hate that. I hate when it does that. Let me double click. So strange, this thing. Huh. A lot of moving around. A lot of moving around. But what's crazy is I actually, as you can see, right, my anchor point. So here I'm changing the position. I'm not even changing anchor point, right? So we could modify anchor point like this, right? Okay, we can modify anchor point like this. Let's just freaking do that. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Let's go up and down, right? We'll go up because that's where we really want the shot to be, okay? Let's go back. This is where we start our boom.
our story is really unique. So it's been fun to get to work on that, but also challenging.
And what's unique about that story?
Yeah, that's what I was.
I mean, really, no one is doing exactly what Cameron's doing in the U.S. And really, when you think about it globally, coming into our studio, it's a very unique experience you might not find anywhere else, because in other countries they have different resources. Like, you can call a dial maker, you can call someone who makes cases, and here we don't have the infrastructure. So we're doing a lot of things in our studio to make our products that you just won't find anywhere else.
Yeah, if you go to Switzerland, it'll be some of the top watchmakers over there, and they will not have from like A to Z every step of
What a
watchmaking in their
great
workshop.
shot. This is great.
They'll just have the final
Clean.
assembly, maybe.
This
That's
is really
pretty typical.
clean. I mean, got a little doorknob back there.
In
with
our
us.
workshop, it's a tiny little version of the entire Swiss industry, right? We have case making, dial making, assembly, polishing. We have movement design, everything. We make screws, wheels, pinions. If I happened to have been born in Switzerland and went into watchmaking, I would have a small workshop, just a little atelier, and I would draw out parts and I would bring them over across the street to the person who makes opinion, bring the case drawing over to another workshop where they're making cases, and you have all these opportunities to use the whole village, the whole.
I just want to take a second and say, man, what a blessing the audio blending is or the synchronizing is, because holy crap, this would be a nightmare without that. A nightmare. So I'm really, really thankful that that has worked. I love the shot. I love their kids in the shot. It's really beautiful, really pretty. Really, really pretty. And I like the framing, right? A little bit of foliage in the background. And right, we just maintain this as long as he's talking or she's talking.
Industry there to make what you want to make. We don't have that opportunity here, so I had to basically make the whole industry in my own workshop. So it's very different. But for me, that's what I love about it. So coming into our workshop is very different than going into most Swiss workshops.
Yeah, it's kind of like
Coming into our workshop is like, I love that. That's a great scene right there.
Most Swiss workshops.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Bam. Okay. That's the end of our pan in, right? So let's go here. Let's see. There.
Yeah, it's kind of like.
Okay. And then I go here, right? I'm gonna.
Yeah, it's
boom. Okay. And then I go back to there. I get my editing tool, right? And remember, we edit, we clip. And now what's cool is because we clip there and there, watch what happens, right? It's going to snap back to the original positioning, I think, I hope.
Yeah, it's kind of like.
Okay, so it didn't. That's fine. I can make it do it, right? So we clip there, right? We clip there. And we just remember that we've already scaled to 250. We scale back to 100. And we scale, no, position, maybe not, I don't remember. Right, anchor point, we want to change the anchor point. I think if we remove anchor point, then it just centers it. It should just center the anchor point if we remove anchor point. Yeah, there we go. So it just centers it, right? So here we go. This is our shot, right? This is our shot.
Yeah, it's kind of like in Switzerland, there's an ecosystem of capability.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily, I'll just say,
Bam. Okay, cool, right? There you go. There we go. Right. So let's take a zoom out. Let's take a zoom out. We could see that we're on cam 1. We cut to cam 2. We do the slow pan on the narrative. We cut back to that same camera view. Then we cut to cam 1, right? And then we come and look for one more of those sections at the end. I'm going to wrap this up off camera. It's almost 10 o'clock on my time. And man, I so appreciate y'all tuning in, and I'm having a blast doing this. It's such a fun learning experience to kind of play around and learn, again, how do you use these freaking tools? I'm totally looking for feedback and input on how to do this better. So thanks in advance to the community for sharing that insight. And until next time, hope to catch y'all. Yeah, really do appreciate it. And signing off for both Maisie and myself. Peace.